Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 481 for Wednesday, July 11th, 2022. I can't hear myself, and I'm thinking, can anybody else hear me, or am I yelling
We can
too
hear you
loud?
fine.
And I'm guessing from the way Paul jumped when I said, hey, everybody, it was too loud.
We heard you.
Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's show. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this week's adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. I have with me this fine panel, which I have traveled far and wide to gather. No, actually, they do it out of the goodness of their heart and they're at home. So let me introduce them and we can get this show on the road. The ice cream truck is here again. My friend in Northern California, who is withstanding the atmospheric river and everything else being thrown at her by Mother Nature, Georgia McKenzie.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We kind of have a jam-packed show, so we're going to keep it short and keep it moving.
Love that. He is the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, and I still got a big head, so trying to figure out how to get my screen.
Because you have all that car knowledge in there, Paul. Okay.
I actually always
no.
Did you? I always thought you were one of the more humble people, but that's fine. And last and certainly not least, he is Mr. Supercharger, our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Kacey Green.
How's it going?
Yeah, got some rain this week.
Boy, did we get some rain.
You guys especially, yes.
Yeah, George is getting killed. We're just at the edge, and which it's wonderful that we got some rain, but I think we got 2 inches of rain last week. And I didn't look at Sacramento, but I noticed that in the last 13 days, San Francisco has gotten over 13 and a half inches of rain, which is fully off the charts insane.
To give you an idea of what it's like, there are still parts of Sacramento with no power going from this weekend. Oh. There are parts of my old town, Davis, that have no power. The food co-op just opened today for 3 hours on generator. They have no power still. Wow. We've had highway closures, street closures. We're under flooding alert. We've been under flooding watch for the past 4 days, and I've started back up hitting the gym on the daily because I finally found a new place over here. And I have weights at home, but there's nothing quite like a good challenging 35-pounder and, trying to get that maximum. Yes, I'm a gym rat in my off time. So I've been heading out there and literally I am waiting for pockets of dry in between the rain to run out and come back, live for an hour and come back. So yeah, it's been a lot of rain. However, if you needed moisture, we've got it up here. We are your moist destination.
Thank you, Georgia. I'm sorry. I was typing a response and you caught me. I'm busted. I admit it. So before I get myself in any more trouble, let's start the show. I wanted to start the show with some comments that I had read that really resonated with me. It's in the Trucks newsletter, which my friend Ed Niedermeyer recommended this to me long time. Recommended to everyone a long time ago. Got it. It is a fantastic newsletter from Trucks Venture Capital. Riley Brennan is the author, and he does an amazing job. I'm going to read some of it to you. You should sign up for it yourself and get this letter. But I wanted to just... CES is the Consumer Electronics Show. It's an annual convention in Las Vegas. It is the electronics convention. It is in the last decade morphed into this thing where car companies go there because they want to be seen as cutting edge. They want to be seen as technologically hip. It's what it's done it has not replaced the car shows that where you go whatever, New York, LA, Chicago, all of the standard car shows, they have press days, but those shows are also open to the public. And the whole point of that is you get people in there to stand in line to look at your new stuff, and you sell them cars. You send them to the dealers and they go buy the brand new, whatever it is, because they saw it at the car show and it was amazing. This is a wholly different issue. This has drawn a lot of CEOs, a lot of important movers and shakers in the transportation business. And it's about business to business. It's about their reputation in the industry. It's about making a press splash with the non-traditional auto media, which is, this isn't in Riley's newsletter. This is me pontificating. But the interesting thing is the traditional auto media is very, very gas oriented. They're very petrol oriented. They love manual shift cars. They love gas cars. They love and that's, of course, it's not monolithic. There's lots of exceptions, but there's also a lot of people that feel this way. So taking your new alt car, your new electric car, your new high-tech car to a place like CES is trying to appeal to a different audience. The tech journalists, the electronics journalists, trying to get them interested in what you make, which makes an enormous amount of sense. So to wrap this up, really what it is it's a huge tectonic shift away from things like the New York Auto Show, LA Auto Show, Chicago, and CES. CES is the place you go now to see new upcoming high-tech vehicles, and the suppliers, whether they're battery makers or other OEMs, there. It's amazing. So, questions from the audience. Hey, Russell, you're full of shit. What are you talking about?
Teslas in the sewer tunnels?
Actually,
is that a joke?
They did surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Is that oh, those tunnels. Oh my God. Those videos are so embarrassing. Oh my God. There's no way to make that video look cool. I'm sorry.
Although somebody did the comparison and scaled it up, compared it to one of the large airports, and found that it was about 10 times more passengers moved than the airport shuttle.
Kacey,
and then somebody tried to compare it to a subway, and that was just stupid. Because
how many drivers does the airport shuttle use?
Probably less, because the airport shuttle is, you're looking at 1 or 2 30-person buses or 12-person buses rather than 50 3-passenger cars.
Yeah. Kacey, you don't have to defend it. You want to, that's fine. I just don't feel like this is like people are attacking you.
I'm just saying that it's different than a train. It has a different use. And it seems novel, and we should let it breathe and see what becomes of it. Because all of the stuff that happens here can be transferred to a train, but slower. Because you got to wait for people to get on and get off, because you don't want to send a train with 3 people on it. That's foolish.
I'm going to disagree with you, Kacey, but that's okay.
But the beauty is, it's not on, it's not like government money to figure out. It was a private enterprise to private enterprise, and we'll find out.
The lack of beauty is Elon conned some very easily conned suckers into going for his scheme rather than going for mass transit, like Elon's done with Hyperloop, like Elon's done with Boring Company. His whole mission is to undermine any sort of mass transit. Because why? Elon doesn't make mass transit. Elon makes cars.
He said he's going to make a bus. We'll see what happens with that. David, I'm
going
to disagree with you there. Russell used to work for Musk Enterprises, so he obviously at one point did see good in the ventures.
Ouch, that hurts.
Let me help you out here. We got buses.
Yeah, but if you put the buses in their own lane, as we saw with, was it the TA? What is the abbreviation?
That is not a problem that involves car manufacturer or Elon Musk.
Well, I mean, when you think about who killed the trolleys was GM, and
and
so
that was always
buses.
a bad idea. Which means that car manufacturers should stay in their damn lane and stay out of our industry.
As we've seen, when you put the buses in their own lane and give them like the speed pass with the traffic lights and all that. You can put an
And
electric
that
bus in the
is
tunnel.
nothing I want Elon Musk near, because
What?
this is not a person who knows what the hell he's doing, even when it covers things he theoretically knows about. This is civic planning, and he can stay right where he is doing whatever the hell that is.
I say let it breathe. Let's see what happens. It's only one
No.
city, and then we can evaluate it from that.
Yeah, he needs to stay where he is.
I got nothing. So anyway, the Riley Trucks Venture Capital newsletter. If you're interested in getting a good weekly newsletter, do check it out. I want to thank Riley Brennan for this week's and the CES thing. I've been to CES 13 times. I haven't been in the last since 2005, I think. I need to go again because it's totally different now from the sense of transportation. So thank you for that. Let me go. Let's see. I have to go back here. I think the first story was Kacey Green. Kacey, do you really have something? Oh, that's right.
Hey.
I was going to say not that Mercury, a different Mercury, the Mercruiser people.
Oh, which Mercury did you think?
I automatically think Ford Lincoln Mercury.
Oh, them. They're dead. They've been dead.
I know, but one of my first cars was a Cougar, so that's where my head goes.
So this Mercury is a company that makes outboard motors, and so they have a new 100% electric outboard motor with easy to swap batteries, and this one's called the Aviator 7.5e. And I'm assuming the 7.5 is a reference to its power output. This is being shown off at CES 2023. I'm sure Russell's got a picture. And the swappable batteries are good for about 45 minutes. And no, it's not. It's 3.5 horsepower. So I'm not sure where the 7.5e comes from. Oh, I see it there. It's a 750 watt continuous rating. So I'm guessing that the 3.5 is the boost. And electrified all the things.
Yeah.
It's a small motor.
This isn't a big, hey, we're going to go water skiing.
No, this is something you'd put on your tender. Get from your sailing yacht to the beach.
Oh, I was just like, put on your Tinder.
Cutting around.
Did I hear that right or wrong?
That was
so you get off your sailboat.
Elitist comeback that you could possibly I'm thinking bass boat, and Casey's like, "Oh, no, that's what you put on your tender, but that brings supplies to your super yacht."
You get off your small sailboat, and then you go to get groceries, and you park it at the dock because this is like think of either the rigid-sided or the inflatable little boat that hangs off the back of your sailboat, and now you can get your groceries because you live in the water.
Yeah, because I seriously was going, is this something that the kids enjoy seeing on your dating profile? Did you have an It's on the Tinder?
Not Tinder.
I'm just an old lady. I don't understand what is going on. I just thought it was going to go on a Tinder, and then I swiped to the right because it's sustainable. Okay.
Yeah, and Bruce is saying that they sound like an also ran, like they're coming at it because there's another company he was talking about in the beginning of the show called Torquillo, and let's see, unless it undercuts them by a fair amount of price, that they're established, the Torquillo, and same sort of thing. And I bet you they have a bigger range on the Torquillo, so you could go from your tenders and maybe something like a bass boat or bigger.
So the cool thing is that the batteries are in the motor housing where normally the internal combustion motor is. They're relatively small. I don't know how that weight changes the balance of things.
The whole assembly is 45 pounds with a battery installed. So you could, if you're afraid of anybody stealing your motor, you could take it with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's not like...
Although what would have been really smart was for this outboard motor company to partner with a lawn care company and make the battery pack fit your, lawn tractor, your mower, your weed whacker, all that stuff. And then you can use the same battery pack to do other things than just putting around in your boat.
There you go. Wow. I like that. Then you're not wasting materials making a battery that only gets used on the weekends.
Exactly. And batteries like to be used. So
they do.
if you put it
Especially
on the
lithium.
shelf for the winter, it may be no good in the summer.
Or may have 10% less capacity, so now your 40 minutes is is not so helpful.
Or you can use it for your snowblower in the winter or something.
Yeah.
We almost need a universal battery
Boom.
pack,
Double A,
right?
but big.
But well, I mean, or maybe the size of like a hydro flask, you know what I mean? So that like this module goes in your lawnmower and your edger and your outboard motor
And your floodlights and your whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great idea. We should
David
patent
says
it.
that such a motor, such a rubber raft with such a motor would have been useful in my Alberg 30 foot back in the day versus gas.
There you go. That's a really. Does it say anywhere what it costs, Kacey? I didn't.
I didn't notice a cost on this one.
Okay.
The author was expecting it to be 3,000 to 3,500, and I'm curious now what the ones that Bruce is telling us about, the Torquillos, what they go for.
That sounds expensive.
But I mean, when you think about how much the boat itself cost you,
well, yeah,
sounds like a drop in the bucket. I don't know if the tinder is normally expensive or not, but the sailboat definitely was.
I've
yeah, they definitely have a range of sizes on Bruce's. Straight on the boat versus on your tinder. And let's see, they got inboards, outboards, pod drives, hybrid drives. So it looks like they've got the whole. If you want electric drive on your boat, those Torquillos will get you.
Okay, nice, very cool.
So that's two options for you.
That's
We'll
right. Two electric boat options, or electric motors for boats options, which is it blows my mind in a good way.
Absolutely,
in a very good way. Well, thank you for that. Let's go. Georgia, I just love the title of this, Photovoltaics.
I called it photovoltaics, but it is photovoltaics with an O. But I like my spelling better just because I can't remember the other one. The great thing about solar is that we can put it down in places that we don't use, especially for farming and for housing. The bad thing about solar is that putting down arrays uses up a lot of land. So here's a solution. We put it on the water. Now, we already do that to a very small extent. I think it's something like only about 2% of the world's solar is photovoltaic. But there are great benefits that help assist with some of the trade-offs of using land-based solar arrays. One of which is that, I'm checking my notes, it actually increases the efficiency of the solar by 5%. So that's a 5% increase in the efficiency because it reduces a lot of the greenhouse gases that are caused by putting that stuff in there in the first place. Whoa. And on top of that, hey, I don't know if you intended to be sharing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I just wanted to. I saw that picture and I'm like, oh my god, that's the coolest picture.
It is. It's a cool picture. It's a very cool picture of a floating voltaic farm. So hosting these solar panels means that we also reduce a lot of things that are negatives, like I don't know, dehydration. Not that around me has anything to worry about dehydration for a good long while. But it does, if we put them in things like reservoirs or lakes that we do use, that's one way we can protect the water that's in it. Now, trade-offs is that we also have to think about the fact that there's a natural cycle that we're disrupting, and we're doing that with everything we do, whether we put solar arrays on land or whether we put it in the water. There are trade-offs. So what about plants and animals in the water that rely on photosynthesis, natural decay patterns, which are part of the life cycle? We have to think about all of that, but we have to keep it in balance. And that's something that means that we're probably going to have to adjust throughout the life of any of these solutions and these projects. Now, there's a little bit more expense to do a photovoltaic, but it's really not much. To break even, a solar floating project only is about 4 to 8% higher than a ground-based solar power. There's dozens of new projects underway. There's a new one that's going to be completed in 2024 in Batam, Indonesia. And that plans to produce 2.2 gigawatts by deploying solar panels over 16 kilometers of water, which will nearly double their our global photovoltaic energy production. Now, what are some of the issues though? Who does it actually benefit? Well, us in America, in fact, just about everybody with a really large amount of coastline and bodies of water, just sitting around, just being wet, they can benefit a lot by adding more photovoltaic arrays. Africa, that would be very helpful. Who doesn't benefit? Well, of course, the smaller nations, because we've got smaller bodies of water. Nations that are most islands, not enough potable water, or they rely too much on their coastlines. Well, they're not going to be assisted quite as much. But Brazil and Canada, they seem to be the ones that could really jump ahead on this, and they require only about 5% of their amount of reservoirs to be covered to resolve a lot of their solar energy needs. In fact, Brazil is actually having a photovoltaic boom. So we'll see what happens with this, but it's kind of a cool idea that instead of taking up land, and especially as we have issues right now with arable land, what to do with it because of farming, agriculture, agribusiness. There's a lot of issues with that. Do we put solar arrays on the land, or do we actually make full use of the bodies of water that are sitting around? Like, say, if we put it in our reservoirs, that's something we can think about, and that's something we should be talking about. What up, Kacey?
We talked about the trial that California was doing a couple weeks ago, where they put it over the canals.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I mean, so forgive me for being a simpleton, but 70% of the earth is covered in water, not dry land.
Yeah.
And granted, this is probably not something you're going to float in a violent ocean, the waves, but the idea that we've only developed solar PV panels that can go on dry land, this is a super good idea, and we'll find ways to implement it, whether it's in lakes or whatever. Maybe they'll make some kind of cool float. I'd kind of like to see some waves hit that thing.
It would be kind of awesome if we could use the vast amount of water. I mean, calling this planet Earth was really a weird choice because it is definitely water. It's a water planet. And it would be great if we could use miles of water for floating solar arrays, but just like placing it in places that people normally think of when they think about massive plots of land that nobody wants to use, setting up solar arrays, it's delivering the energy from there to where we live. Because we humans are water monkeys. We evolved, and we are basically attracted to bodies of water. We use bodies of water because we drink water, we bathe, we use water for our manufacture. We use it to transmit stuff up and down our riverways for trade. That's how we travel. That's lots of our trading routes throughout Europe and the Middle East and Asia are all tracking along bodies of water. So, but the best places to suit a lot of this stuff might be further out in the ocean, might be further out in arid desert lands that are dry as scrub and ain't nobody there but a bunch of very warm lizards. But how do we get the energy from there to where we are? And that's something that we still don't seem to have a full answer to. But I will tell you one thing that's pretty cool about the photovoltaics is the fact that you can use the bodies of water, especially when we're talking about reservoirs, and especially if we use things that are connected to hydropower. The water body itself can store warmth. It can be used to store the energy too. So we'll see how we maximize the concept of photovoltaics, because the one thing that's very unusual about humanity is that we don't just figure something out and then we kind of plod along for a long time. We kind of do that dynamic exponential growth as we learn new things and apply new things. So it's going to be a fascinating concept to see how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Like I said, it just makes so much sense to me that we need all those different solutions. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry, Georgia. Thank you.
Back when Russell was at Solar City selling solar, we only needed 100
I never
square
worked for
miles.
Solar City.
For Tesla,
Thank
as
you.
it was winding down, the Solar City for a while. What was it, 5 years they wound it down, and then they finally brought it back like recently. Back when Russell was a Tesla employee, they only needed 100 square miles of solar panels for the whole world. So even those nations that are water challenged should be able to take advantage of both this and traditional PV.
I was actually the first Tesla Home Energy employee hired in San Diego as a Tesla employee. I started a month before the official changeover. Not that anyone gives a shit, nor should they.
So that's why I wasn't one of them Solar City.
I was not part of the solar coaster. Yeah, believe me, I got to hear all the Solar City stories, and I'm just like, I just don't care. I'm here to sell solar.
Russell sold the stuff, and it said Solar City with a sticker on it to Tesla.
Yeah, no, I was, yeah. My name badge is around here somewhere. Anyway, I don't still have possession of that, by the way.
Yeah, you do.
Patrick had made a request that we predict the amount, the total number of Tesla vehicles that will be produced next year, pointing out that Mr. Paul Guzik was incredibly close. You were like off by 10,000, I think, or something. Is that what? Yeah.
Supposedly, yeah.
I don't have the numbers. So, ladies and gentlemen, keeping in mind that Tesla roughly produced 1.31 million cars in 2022, I am about to write your predictions down. Kacey Green.
I did. I said that they would probably be closer to 4 million, and I predicted 3.3 million.
They're going to more than double production in this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, David had said 2.2 million last year, and then they got the run rate at 2.2 million. So I'm like, well, I'm going to pull a David. I'm going to go big. I think he was off by just a little bit on the run rate, like a small percentage point. So,
yeah,
hey, why not?
Okay, Georgia McKenzie.
Oh my God. So we're not talking sales. We're just talking production.
Yes. Yeah. Gate produced or whatever. Yes. Production. And if I may, it's going to be a number bigger than 1.13 million, assuming Tesla produces more cars this year. Yeah. Not a guarantee.
Not a guarantee.
Oh boy. 1.12 million. Honestly, I think they're going to kind of be a little flat. I know people are still waiting for the truck. I'm going to actually go with only about 1.5.
1.5 even. Mr. Guzik, you've got a legacy to protect, I guess.
I'm going to say
Paul just keeps doing it.
2.15.
2.15. And I'm going to split that difference. I'm going to go to 1.86.
Interesting.
That is my prediction for 2023. And I will send those to Mark so that he can have them and make us feel wonderful or silly at the end of the year.
Also, anybody in the audience, put it in the chat before we...
Yeah, put it in the chat. We will be happy to record your guesses for total Tesla production in 2023. And include you. Absolutely. Bruce, that's JT, David.
Not rockets, not...
Yeah, we're not counting rockets or solar panels.
The semi-truck, even though Tesla didn't this quarter.
that number's going to be
12.
12.
Maybe in the hundreds. Maybe 100 or 2.
No, it won't.
Depends on how they build out.
Well, that's true. It's production, not sales, right?
Right.
It is production, but it's like Cybertruck. Oh, Cybertruck's going to... No, it's not. It's not going to influence this.
Cybertruck
It's gonna do
was
something this year.
Available, what, 2 years ago?
Is it out yet?
It's supposed to be out this year, and they've started hiring people on the line, and the equipment is finally starting to arrive to put it together.
I'll believe it when I see one driving down the road.
God, I hope I never see them driving on the road. Oh, did I say that right? I'm sorry.
I'll bring it right to your apartment.
I know. I need to be back. Okay.
You'll
So
probably seen a bunch of them by the time I make it over there, though.
let's see what's going on here. Next up, let's go back to Kacey for an Atlanta e-bike program that I would love to hear. And Kacey, you're totally cheating with the baby thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, do I need to bring my cute puppy on the show too? Not that it can compete with the baby, but look at me. Yeah, exactly. Oh,
There's no food in there. When you ate dinner with me. All right, so Atlanta has decided they're going to subsidize e-bikes for folks who are looking for some affordable transportation, and I thought it was a good idea. And either one of the authors or one of the commenters had pointed out that, well, what if we, it's a good idea, isn't it? What if we perhaps just subsidize regular bikes? And I thought that was also a good idea because it would help. But I thought there was a study that we covered that pointed out that folks on e-bikes actually get that aren't athletes actually get more exercise on an e-bike than they do on a pedal bike because they're out of shape, and that just keeps them moving longer, right? So I can see both sides of it, and because it does what we want to do of reducing cars ultimately, I wanted to bring it to the table and see what you guys thought of it. Also democratizing transportation because we lost all those buses back in COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the lack of emphasis on micromobility versus the emphasis that we've spent on cars is so American, so hopeless. We should, what we need is an aggressive program that puts an e-bike in lots of people's hands. I see e-bikes all over the place here. And there's almost always one common thread when I'm in wealthy areas along the coast. It's peppered with e-bikes, just all over the roads. Nice, big, fat, wide bike lanes and all that. What we, because they're expensive and the bike lanes are in the nice neighborhoods. We need to democratize that. It's social justice. I don't know what else to say.
I'm going to say that while, it's nice, but the real justice would be transportation.
Yeah.
Not everybody can ride a bike. Disabled are often the ones most left out of the equation by these kinds of things because if you're in a wheelchair, what the hell good is an e-bike supposed to do for you? Are they adding more, specialty ride services for the disabled? If you're older, and you can't ride a bike, what are you supposed to do with this?
Well, I think if it does count to those bikes that we looked at the last couple of weeks, the trikes, for people who qualify, that would also be a good.
Not really. If you if you need assistance to walk, if you have vision problems, if you have hip problems.
Oh, not for everybody. I'm saying like if they add that, it would expand it a little bit more. But like you said, they're going to need something that's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, I think the problem is that a bus pretty much does that.
But they killed the bus. And they never finished their train because they were afraid that those people would come to the wrong neighborhood.
And that's the problem. It's the class stigma of public transportation and the fear that the wrong people will wind up in your neighborhood means that things that honestly e-bikes are great, but they're just toys to people who already have the options. They can afford an EV. They can afford to live in a planned walkable community where the grocery store is less than a mile away. They don't live in a food desert.
Right.
So
And this is Atlanta we're talking. It's not New York City. New York City, if they did this, they'd be like, "That's a great idea," but can I fit it on the subway? Uh,
well, you have folders. I mean, you're
yeah,
talking to somebody who moved to TV on the New York City subway. So what can I say? And I've gone to IKEA in New York City. Well, actually, the IKEA is in New Jersey, but you know what they did? They had a bus. You sign up and you get on the bus to IKEA in New York. And not only do they take you to IKEA, they run a couple of times a day. You plan when you come and you plan when you go and you put your packages on there, and they will literally drop you off at a bus stop with your stuff. And you
I
can
wonder.
go off with your shit. And
I
they'll
wonder if
deliver the bigger shit.
I wonder if you go to the if you go to the Musk Tunnel with stuff to go in the trunk, if they would actually open it for you.
No, I don't think
Georgia,
so.
I'm not gonna disagree with you because you're absolutely right.
You're right.
But it's can we agree that way more e-bikes could help a lot of people?
Oh yes,
Okay.
like I said, I personally agree. I love e-bikes. I had the future e-bike, but somebody stole it before I could convert it. Thanks, asshole.
Oh,
We need a GoFundMe for Georgia's e-trike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the balance challenge.
Get you the no, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you say, there are lots of people that aren't necessarily comfortable having two wheels as their primary transportation. I get that.
right. Well, I mean, look at places like where I am. I've been hanging out lately, and also where I am now that you guys don't know where it is.
It's
There's
a
weather.
secret.
Yeah, there's weather. It gets hot, it gets cold, it snows, it rains, and yeah, you can deal with it. But not everybody has a shower at work, and not everybody has the body mass to sit there and freeze. And yeah, once you get up to speed, blah blah blah. But you got to get there first. And then also, what about when it's just hot? Like the Southeast is muggy and hot, so it's like there's no way to get rid of that heat except for once you get moving. And you're not allowed to run these things on the sidewalk, so you got to stop for the stoplights, and you got to get hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a panacea. Nor is it intended to be. But if it gets cars off the road, if it gets people in bikes and leaving the cars parked somewhere, it's a net plus. If it gives people that previously didn't have a car, that couldn't afford it, maybe they don't have good bus service there. Yeah, I'd love to have perfect mass. Not perfect. I'd love to have great mass transit in more places.
Better than we have now. Yeah, like if we could get the Amtrak to not share or have to be delayed by the freight lines.
Yeah.
That would
All we have to do is
train.
Get all the Republicans out of government.
Pretty much. They're the only ones making this car thing go.
That's the only thing, like, just yeah.
Oh, JC points out Velomobiles, but yeah, because then you're looking at something like the Archimoto again, and they said it was going to be cheap, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, Archimoto.
And when I say Archimoto, I'm talking an Archimoto with doors, windows, and air conditioning, not the one that we actually have.
Yeah. I mean,
nothing wrong with that one.
Archimoto's cool. They just, sadly, it wasn't the $11,000 vehicle that they thought it could be.
That part.
And they couldn't build it. And they didn't give up. And good for them for not giving up,
Right.
But that doesn't make the product more viable at $20,000 to $25,000.
I did see some autonomous Archimotos. They blacked out the windows, and there's a robot inside.
No. Okay, on that note, I'm going to go to Paul Guzik, who has some good news. What a surprise from Colorado.
Yeah, so it's hasn't happened
news,
yet, but the governor has proposed $120 million in new tax credits to incentivize people to get EVs. And a couple of cool things. One of them is to increase the vehicle tax credit from, which is now $2,000 up to $5,000 if you buy a new EV. But tailing on Kacey's story, bicycles, there'll be a statewide incentive to buy an e-bike and it will be a $500 rebate if you buy an e-bike. And if you're a lower income person in the state, you'll get a $1,000 e-bike. And the city of Denver actually did this last year, and they had 4,000 people take advantage of the deal. So there's 4,000 e-bikes in Denver chugging around. So, and to add to that, lawn care equipment, 30% rebate if you buy an electric lawnmower or electric weed whacker. So the governor's stance in Colorado is clean air, clean energy. So let's hope that other states will follow Colorado, like Colorado has set some trends in the past that other states have followed. So let's see what happens.
I love the electric yard stuff. Yeah. Subsidizing that is just...
I think someone said like a 2-stroke leaf blower pollutes as much as Prius driving from Alaska to Texas or something.
Yeah, it's
in half an hour. It's
something hideous.
Yeah.
And all day long on Mondays, all we hear is like the leaf blowers here in my apartment complex. The noise is awful, the stench is terrible, and the pollution is
and the dog poo.
But we said earlier, it would be so cool if there would be some international battery standard for all of these types of devices. You can go from your e-bike to your lawnmower to your air conditioner, whatever. Your jumper pack to start your car if it's a traditional car. But everybody wants their proprietary ecosystem to, if you buy a Milwaukee power tool, you've got to buy the batteries from Milwaukee. You can't buy a generic battery and use it in a different brand.
Use a DeWalt in it. Yeah.
Which is bullshit. It's horrible. It's
especially when inside that casing is probably a very standard size battery.
I mean, the sad thing is disposable batteries standardized. A C battery and a AA battery you can buy from anybody and will fit in anybody's equipment.
Right.
But they're disposable, which is not good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Paul.
Colorado, free money.
There you go. Go to Colorado, get your new electric leaf blower and e-bike, get whatever. If it's powered by electricity, chances are Colorado's going to give you something to help.
Yeah.
Kacey Green. Oh, I'm sorry.
And a free bag of weed.
And you don't get a free. I was there in Colorado. I did not get a free bag of weed. Okay.
That was just the first year.
Damn.
First year.
Damn it. I mean, I even bought a car in Colorado and I didn't get a free bag of weed.
What?
Oh, well.
Jeez.
That's certainly not something I need. Let's just leave it at that. Kacey Green, another one of my favorite titles this week. Kacey's title for this article is, quote, "More bullshit," unquote.
I did too. More of this bullshit. Yeah. All right. So the Ohio governor has just signed some legislation that his legislature has brought forward. House Bill 507. One of the things that stood out to both the author of this article and to me was they said, let's see, how did it go? The bill also noted that the green energy includes energy generated by using natural gas, or as Patrick had told us a couple weeks ago, methane, just gas, not natural. There's nothing, it's gas. Using natural gas as a resource. They want us to call natural gas green. And in fact, again, I'm still calling it natural gas instead of methane. So the greenwashing is working. And they pointed out that even though they've capitulated on this, the governor says that his administration will not allow new surface access to state parks. And then in the same sentence, it says, though it is possible that minerals beneath state lands can still be accessed from the surface of adjacent properties. I still think that if you're coming at a slant like Mr. Burns, then you're done, you're stealing from me. So, and since that's public, you're stealing from the public. And that's some shady business right there.
Yeah. I just, Do you need help, Kacey? Because it seems like your baby is beating the living hell out of you.
Yeah,
She
baby
is. It's
has-
like the masochist dentist, and then like when she was done, she booped me on the nose, like bang. When she steals the glasses.
Yeah, she's at that abuse phase of childhood where basically they're just beating the crap out of you every
At least
opportunity.
she's having a good time. I mean,
Especially around the face.
She's talking up a storm.
there you go. Well, for our
It's
final story tonight, let's go to Georgia. And this is a happy one, right, Georgia? Okay,
Sure.
it is
Sure,
what it
it's
is.
happy.
Sure.
It's happy-ish.
It's
Yeah,
sure.
I guess. So I'm going to tangent a little bit. I'm going to tangent. Years ago, when I was writing more about food and sustainability, same thing. See, I've been doing this for a long time. When I was writing about food and sustainability, I did a piece on big ag that focused on the fact that as we got more popular organics, more organic demand, we got big organic, where things like one of my favorite salad mixes, Earth Organics, just was really not much different than, say, a Conagra, just a little smaller. And the problem with big organic is just past the point of scale, the benefits of organic to sustainability, not necessarily nutritional, but the benefits of organics to the concept of sustainability actually started to go down. And it was hard to manage. And we're kind of at that point with EVs as we see more and more cars, and specifically the trucks and the SUVs, shift over into the electric vehicle market. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Hummer. You, right there, the Hummer. Because I'm not saying anything about your hobbies there, Russell. As these EVs have shifted from the smaller car market, from the sedan-sized vehicles and the smaller vehicles, and they've started to scale up, and they've gotten more up and up and up. We're getting the SUVs and headed to things till we finally did get that the Hummer EV, and we've got the Ford F-150 Lightning. Well, David Zipper in The Atlantic is writing another well thought out article talking about the problem being not resolved just because you slap a whole new electronic architecture inside the frame of these vehicles, and you've taken away the benefit of an SUV, and you added to the problems of these vehicles overall. So the problem that you have a giant ass truck and I don't know how many of you have been out in front of a truck and you literally realize that the grill of the car is by your forehead. That means, and I'm 5'8", so if all you can see from the truck where you're sitting is just a little part of my head, anybody shorter than me, you can't see them at all. Kids can't be seen, animals, nothing. A small vehicle, you can't see that small vehicle. I didn't say anything at the time, but I nearly got pincered about 2 weeks ago because I was behind a truck. There was a guy in a fast car trying to overtake in the fast lane, and there was a dude merging in a giant truck, a consumer truck, full king cab, that was busy talking to his passenger. So I'm behind the actual truck. This guy's merging. He's about to sideways into me. The guy in the blue car speeding along in my blind spot, determined to overtake me. And I was about to get like that. And I literally had to honk and make him stop because he was not paying any attention. He did not see me at all. And I am not really in a very small car. I'm not in a low slung car. I'm in a Honda Fit, and I'm bright cherry red. How did you miss me? I know where everybody is when I'm merging, but that's happened. it's not resolved by putting that by swapping out the ice inside that vehicle body and making it an electric vehicle. And the problem is that we're adding these EVs, but we are not getting rid of the problems of the vehicles themselves, including the acceleration issue, which he makes a great point, because that's something that I've noticed a couple of times that I've been in an electric vehicle, that people have a difficulty getting used to acceleration because it's not the same feel.
Oh.
It's not the same level of effort. They already kind of turkey jerky a little bit when they drive, and they accelerate too much. They have to get used to dealing with the fact that it's a different feel when they drive it than an ICE engine. And we're still trying to go 0 to 60 in EVs, yet that acceleration is not necessary because it's not very well controlled as it is. Then it's the issue of the materials used, all the rare materials used in these batteries, and they have to make them bigger and bigger. And I did not quite know this fully, but like the Hummer EV, the weight for the battery alone is as much as a Honda Civic. That's a lot of stuff to make a very. I think in one of his articles he says it's less environmentally friendly than a gas sedan, and it's true because I'm pretty sure throw my Fit in there, which is very low cost to run and high gas mileage and very efficient, up against a Honda EV with all the charging times. So we can't save ourselves because we think that there's a solution that's outside of changing our behavior. The solution is, not the same. It's when you see somebody who is gonna drink 20 Diet Cokes to make up for the fact that they ate like 2 cheeseburgers and a massive double serving of fries, but they're drinking a Diet Coke. What, did the Diet Coke subtract some calories out of what you ate? It's somehow helping you physically, but that's not how it works. But we still treat EVs like that. We treat every problem that we find technological solutions for that do require some level of technological improvements. We treat that as if that is the whole solution. Slap an EV into a massive king cab vehicle. But I can tell you that if I had not managed to make my way out of that little pincer maneuver there, I wouldn't have cared if that was an electric EV truck smacking me into the blue Tesla on the other side. But so it's a really good, strong article in The Atlantic, written by David Zipper, who does a lot of writing on I guess you could say on technological, on the vehicular ethics and facts around sustainable vehicles. But we have to start adjusting our thought pattern from not just getting rid of the ICE version of a vehicle, but reimagining the vehicles that we're promoting and converting into. Are they necessary to be this way? Do we really need it? But we don't. And it's a status symbol. I know you guys have heard me say multiple times that yes, it's a status symbol. It's really all about status. I have never personally seen a Hummer out at work in the fields using all that torque and power that it supposedly has to, haul a herd of chickens or something to market, whatever the hell it's supposed to do. I have seen it blocking tiny streets in cute little expensive neighborhoods as it tries to maneuver around for the farmer's market because, Daisy's got to get her 4 organic oranges for her smoothies this week. And it is the most obnoxious thing in the planet. So did we need it? Why do we change? Why can't we change?
When you look at the alternative, if somebody has a look at me car like the Hummer is going to get, because when you look at it, like what would be better, a Rivian, a Chevrolet, a Ford, any of them EVs would be better, but they want you to look at them. They want to block the road so they get their 4 oranges. So it in the short run it is way worse than some of the gas vehicles. But if they keep it forever, Eventually, it will even out, but they're also not trying to keep the vehicle for
The
very
whole
long.
truck culture, though, to have like the biggest,
Yeah.
stupidest truck. Like, I remember in the '70s they had these little Datsun and Mazda,
I had a little Mazda 95
pickup,
pickup truck. It
and they
was
were
great.
They were, you could haul stuff. They would get you around. They got decent mileage, and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every year.
Yep.
Like Georgia says, the grill is 6 feet off the ground.
Right. Like you used to be able to like ride under somebody with my Nissan truck, and now, like you said, you can accidentally run tall people over.
Well, the problem we have there is, I agree that if they bought it and they stayed with it. Now, I would like to introduce you to rich people. Rich people do not give a damn about keeping things unless it's a stock option.
Yeah.
The only thing they might buy and hold that's not stock is probably wine, and even then they can't enjoy it properly because they're waiting for it to increase in value. These are not happy people. Anybody who buys something that's supposed to be good and enjoyable and sits there to wait for it to increase in value so that then they can sell it is not a person who's happy. That person has failed at living life. You're just rich, and that's pointless. So a rich person does not buy this and enjoy it and get a lot of joy and life out of it and ride it until it goes into the ground and think, man, that was like a great pair of sneakers. I wore that thing out. It was 15 years, you and me together, Betsy. That's not a rich person. A rich person
They'll ride it till Friday and get the next thing.
I got it, but it's super. I got the Hummer EV, but what's cool now? It's gonna be the Tesla truck. Or, well, I don't want the Tesla truck because
I got
that doesn't have the right
$400,000
cachet.
Cadillac.
I want the Rivian. If you need us to send SEAL Team 6 to rescue you from the baby, Kacey, just let us know. Just shoot up a flare or something, because that child she's gonna have you in a chokehold next. But
She's gonna be cute. She's gonna be cute. Then you called her out.
No, she's gonna. No, I'm praying for you.
Part of the problem, if I may, with this is that the nature of adopting new technology, like electric vehicles, sort of historically introducing new technology appeals to the wealthy, appeals the new adopters. They want bigger, powerful, more luxurious, faster. And that's what the people who wanted to be in business of making electric vehicles did. The problem is they haven't fucking stopped doing it. They're still making the same big, huge luxury. And they're really easy because when you've got 9,000 pounds of battery, you don't have to use advanced materials. Your door handles can be made out of tungsten, for God's sakes. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
One
thing that I want to point out there, though, is that very few of the vehicles available for sale don't have the advanced speed. Like, you've got the Toyota and the Volkswagen. Everything else is like hypercar fast from the 90s. And the only good thing about that is all these fast cars have all these cameras, and so far they've all done decent at the pedestrian and bicycle test. So hopefully the car can see that little Jimmy's jumped out in the street with his ball, even though the driver can't see over the hood.
Yeah, we're really hoping, setting a lot of store on the car being smarter than the driver, and I don't want to shock you, but the car is being made by people not much smarter than the driver.
At best.
Yeah. So
it's assembled that way.
Anyway, it's the kind of thing I want people to think about even though our show, is about cars and just transportation and sustainability, where it's really about sustainable transportation, it's improvements in life. But one of the things that I often explain to people who ask what I think about getting X, Y, or Z is that I really want you to consider for yourself, is it necessary? Is it really fitting my needs? Not because somebody else recommended it. I'm only gonna tell you what I know based on what you tell me. But what I'm going to tell you is, hey, consider these points before you buy anything new, and think about the life cycle of what you're buying. That's real sustainability is not disposable furniture, it's not disposable clothing, it's not disposable cars. And we are an amazingly wealthy society. It doesn't trickle down to everybody. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. And trickle down economics is boo, because one rich guy buying a $4,000 pair of socks is not going to make the same level of jobs and profit that 40 average people buying $10 pair of socks each does. But we have to start considering how to be in balance, how to weigh our choices better. And that includes manufacturers maybe scale it back. The people who want to buy these things, the ones who actually have real reason for it, they're going to get the ones that work best. But most of us don't need it, and we're really trying to fix something inside of ourselves. It's not going to be fixed by purchasing it. But like I said, I think people should take a look at Mr. Zipper's work and read it, think about it, and just practice a little thoughtful consumerism.
And on that note, I'm going to say thank you. Let's do some shout outs and go home because we're a little over on time.
Yes,
Mr. Guzik, it looks dark there. What's up?
Yeah, I want to go home.
Oh, quit your whining just because you work all day and then do the show.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I'll just shout
That
out
does suck.
Boulder Hybrids. If you're in Colorado, you need your EV or hybrid repaired, or you need a car, check us out, boulderhc.com. We actually have a couple cars for sale finally. Prices are coming down. The market's getting better. So still not a great time to buy a car, but it's a lot better than it was 6 months ago. So if you need a car, it's pretty decent out there. Unfortunately, if you need to finance a car, it's going to suck because interest rates are high.
To come with cash.
Inventory's back, but now you still can't afford it.
Yeah.
The way it cooks.
Mr. Green, what's going on in your world?
So, Motoko and I, we do a show on Sunday, and you can catch us there at youtube.com at Kacey Green. And similar to this, a little longer, a little more all over the place, but some folks enjoy it, and you might too if you like this. Yeah, some of that too.
She wants to show over.
Oh, there's that, but also like you pointed out what a good fighter she was.
Yeah, you definitely named her appropriately, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Miss Georgia,
all right,
it's all up to you now.
Okay, you've been with us for about an hour and 2 minutes now. Go ahead, hit like on the show because you watched the whole daggone thing. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe already. Every time you hit like on a show, it tells the algorithm of YouTube that this show is worth sharing to people who are interested in sustainability or cars, or just four people sitting around talking. And while you're at it, when you're done here, don't forget to check out Kacey over at Kacey's channel, Kacey Green over on YouTube. And while you're at it, if you just so happen to be looking for a car, go on ahead and stop over by Paul Guzik's, because you know what? Polar Harpers is going to treat you right, and they're not going to screw you over, and that's really important when you're buying a car. So thank you for all of us over here. If you're any one of the people dealing with rain on the West Coast, oh boy, keep your eye on the skies and just stay dry.
Thank you so much, Georgia. I appreciate that. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. I want to thank Georgia McKenzie, Kacey Green, Paul Guzik for being here. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for your predictions for Tesla production next year.
So do I get a free Tesla for being most correct?
Mark is going to give you his Tesla.
That's what we can afford, a Hot Wheels Tesla.
Oh, wait, I actually might have one of those. I think I have a Hot Wheels Model X that Chelsea sent me a few, but Paul, no prize. I'm sorry, but you do get bragging rights. I mean, for whatever, that doesn't really have any kind of redeemable cash value, but No.
Karmic value, though.
Karmic value, yeah. Everyone will respect you even more. Forced smile. So, thanks to all of you. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Thank you. Wow. Coming in hot, folks.